Hey, 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 it is Eric Arnold back in the politics barn. That's what we're calling my studio for tonight. Another political episode for you all. For those of you that are subscribed wanting to hear sports picks. Well, there in a previous video, I took you college football wise up through Christmas. That's in a previous video, so you got to go look that up. I noted one of our inner circle in the magnificent bastard army. That's what I call my followers. One of the, officers was texting me today saying, "Who you got today?" I'm thinking to myself, my officers aren't watching the videos? What's going on here? But, at any rate, political video tonight. Why? Well, like I said, a lot of stuff's happening right now. And the topic of this episode mostly focused on Biden's little speech today regarding I keep wanting to say Omicron, and that's not right. Omicron, the virus, whatever new thing we're calling the virus this week, Omicron, and his, what was he going to say today? We're going to have more lockdowns? Are we going to shut the country down again at Christmas like we did last year? What? So I wanted to watch that. So here are my thoughts, and I'll try not to talk in too big of a circle. I know some of my sports fans are saying, where are the picks? Well, like I said, this stuff's important. I think we need to talk about it. So we're going to talk politics. I avoid watching or listening to the president. I don't like Joe Biden. I never have. I think the guy's a bully. He always has been. He's a mean-spirited bully, a grifter, a liar. Always has been. So I got no use at all for this guy. Well, you don't like any Democrats. That's true. But as far as Democrats go, I like this guy hardly at all. I mean, I'll give you an example of a Democrat I didn't mind too much. Ed Rendell, he was the former mayor of Philadelphia, then became the governor, two-term governor here in Pennsylvania. That guy never told me to wear a mask, That guy never tried to take my rights away. He raised my taxes, but all Democrats do that. He didn't try to take my rights away. And he liked the Philadelphia Eagles. So Fast Eddie was always not hated in my household. But the current crop of Democrats, no. But at any rate, I wrote down old, weak, pathetic. Just that was how he came across to me. Clearly, this guy's not in charge of the country. Somebody's, propping him up. And I know we all know this, but it was just obvious to me today, just listening to the guy speak, that he's just a puppet. He's just, a figurehead. He's not in charge. He's not making any decisions. No, he's not putting any thought at all into what decisions are being made. He's being told what to say, and he says it, and then he wanders on off. He's not making any decisions. So I think that's, ultimately, I think that's bad. I think that's bad. But here's some more thoughts. I mean, he... obviously he did not, if you haven't heard the news, did not call for any more lockdowns, school closures, nationwide mask mandates, more travel restrictions, anything like that. So I guess his big solution right now is to just send out all kind of tests to the whole world and have everybody do test on themselves if they feel sick, or even if they don't feel sick, just because I need to test myself every day in case I might have it. It's like, well, do you feel sick? Well, no, but I need to test. Whatever. I mean, I don't care what you do, but if that's the way you want to roll, go ahead. I don't care if he's doing that. That doesn't affect me. He brought up his mask or his vaccination mandate, of course, and that's our main thing here in the barn. It's the worst goddamn thing I've ever seen. It's terrible. We need to stand against it with all our might, do what we can to fight it, try to get it thrown out in the courts. That aside, then just fight it best we can until we get our people in office and they throw it out. That's the best we can do, because there's no way in the world that other citizens should have the right to tell a citizen, this is what you need to do with your body to make your medical choices for you. It's not right at all. But so he, is not backing off of that an inch. I think, here's where I think things are changing a little bit. I'm just kind of, the nature of this press conference, things I'm hearing now in the news, I almost think these Democrats are starting to, there's confusion in the ranks. They don't know kind of which way to go here with the virus. They're almost starting to behave rationally. This is when, if you recall, leading up to the election, I predicted that if the Democrats won the election, that wouldn't be the end of the world, because that would be the end of this lockdown crap, this idiocy, this foolishness, because that's what the country wants. Everybody wants to get back to normal. I think everybody is just about done with this damn thing, in that we recognize it's not the end of the world. We want to go back to whatever we think is normal. We don't want the government telling us what to do every minute of the day. We're sick of watching our kids wear masks 24/7. We're sick of having plexiglass up everywhere. We're sick of all this bullshit. Well, they didn't do that, and I was just mystified. It was like, what are you guys doing? You're going to wreck the economy. You guys are going to get voted out of office, which is pretty much, for a politician, that's job one, is that we got to stay in office. We got to be popular enough to stay in office. That's how a rational politician behaves. And they weren't doing it. And of course, what I thought would happen is exactly what's happened now, is that the economy is in shambles. Inflation's through the roof. You go to the grocery store and you see empty shelves everywhere. It's a mess, and it's largely caused by these foolish, ridiculous, useless lockdown policies, which they've been continuing to push. And so they are now finally, I guess, seeing the obvious writing on the wall. Biden even said it in his address, which surprised me, as he's mumbling his way through the part about the vax mandate. He admitted, he said, I know this isn't popular. It's like, well, you think? You dummy? I mean, so I guess his handlers have gotten the message that the people don't want this mandate. We don't want it. We don't want it. If we're not vaccinated, we don't want it. If we are vaccinated, we don't want it. It's bullshit. We don't need it. It's an ridiculous overreaction to something that simply does not need this kind of a disruptive, I don't want to use the word solution, because there's no goddamn solution at all. This policy that won't work, and we don't want it. But so I guess he's finally gotten the clue there, but he's not backing off. I think he's painted himself into the corner where, he can't come out now and go, oh, I've decided to pull it off, and tell OSHA not to do it. So, in a way, it's like he's not going to do that. Here's what I think might happen. This is where, this is something you're not going to hear on any news station. That's why you tune into the barn here, to get innovative thinking here in the barn. I believe there is a core of real politic type guys, this behind the scene, smoke-filled room type stuff. I believe that still goes on in this country, where the power brokers in this country, the banks, the high-level politicians that have been in office forever, the guys that control the strings, if you will. Who would that be? Well, let's say John Roberts, he's on the Supreme Court, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Well, let's just start there. these kind of people, I think they mostly try to keep the country from going way off the rails, if you will. Believe it or not, to me, I think of Chuck Schumer. He doesn't want a communist society. He kind of likes it the way it is. He wouldn't mind if we had health care for everybody, or that we spend a lot of our gross national product just handing money out to union presidents or whatnot to pay them off for their votes and whatnot. But for the most part, I think he likes it somewhat the way it is. Those guys are trying to fight against the real communists, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the Squad, those people. So, he's not going to say that out loud. The Squad are his buddies. The hell they are. He's trying to keep his people somewhat under wraps. He knows if they get their way, he's out on his ass. There's no need for a Chuck Schumer in a communist United States. So, he's protecting his own ass. So I think, somebody like a Mitch McConnell, is kind of working behind the scenes to keep the world from ending. Chuck Schumer possibly as well. Again, what do you mean? Well, think about it. The Democrats have complete control of the government, complete control of the government. They got the presidency, they got the Senate, they've got the House. They could pack the Supreme Court if they wanted. They could seize the Supreme Court if they wanted to. They could do it. All you need is just ram a bill through the House, the Senate. President signs it. I'm appointing 6 new dudes to the Senate tomorrow, and I'm going to ram them through, and everybody in the Democrat caucus is going to line up and vote for it. And boom, 6 new Supreme Court justices on there. They're all as liberal as hell. And now we got the court too. They got the whole country then. They can do anything at that point. Why haven't they? Why haven't they? Why haven't they gotten rid of the Second Amendment? Why haven't they nationalized election laws in this country where every state must have no questions asked, no ID required, no signature matching, mail, vote by mail? Why haven't they done that? So they haven't been able to do any of this. Why haven't they simply outlawed the American gas and oil industry? They haven't done any of this. They technically have the power to do it right now. Well, I think that's because somebody like McConnell is behind the scenes making deals, saying, all right, you and I both know if you guys get everything you want, that's like the old curse. Be careful what you wish for. You may just get it. If you guys, Chuck Schumer, you wish for this stuff, you may just get it. He doesn't want that, Chuck Schumer. He knows that'd be awful. It'd be a disaster. There'd be a revolution against him at the next election, for one thing. There may just be a revolution, period, where suddenly now people are in the streets, and it's Kyle Rittenhouse times 1,000 out there with his AR. That could happen if all that crap I just rattled off happened. And nobody wants that in the moderate caucus of the Democrats, of which, like I said, you look at Nancy Pelosi as a hardcore commie. I don't think she's a hardcore commie. She likes her seat right where it is. And she doesn't want to rock the boat and end up being the high priestess of the new American Soviet commissar. So she likes it where she is. Now, the Squad, they'd love that kind of thing. So I think these deals are getting cut that are keeping that sort of stuff from happening. A whole year went by and they haven't been able to do any of this stuff. So where am I leading up to this with the vaccination mandate? The Democrats are trying to get out of this, I think. They realize how unpopular this goddamn thing is. They realize that they are going to get absolutely buried in the midterm elections. The off-year elections, November of this past year, 21, they got bombed. It was a disaster for them. They lost the governorship in a true blue state like Virginia, a guy that should have been able to walk to the election, a guy that had previously been the governor of Virginia, and I think a relatively popular one, Terry McAuliffe, he lost to a political neophyte in a blue state. That's damn near unheard of. So, and the polls are showing that they're going to get bombed even worse when November rolls around here in 11 months. They're going to lose the House. They're going to lose the Senate. And they see this coming. And I think they're like, well, wait a minute now. Maybe we better take a step back. I keep telling you people, we're trying to frighten these people. We're trying to scare them and back them off. And I think it might be working. It might be working. Now, like I said, was it working? You said he's not pulling it off. He's not backing down. Biden's not backing down. Well, no, not publicly. Here's what I think could happen. I think that it's possible that these behind-the-scenes crew are going to get with John Roberts and say, the Supreme Court Justice, remember I told you people in the previous video, this mandate's now going to the Supreme Court. We got 3 hardcore commies, they're going to vote for it. You got 3 liberty people, they're going to vote against it. Then you get 3 squishes in the middle, who knows which way they go. Roberts is the leader of the squishes. Roberts, I believe, as much as everybody keeps saying, well, that guy just gets blackmailed. You know, whichever way they want him to go, they just blackmail him because they got something on him. I have no idea if that's true. Actually, what I think is true is he's part of the club. He's part of the club, so he tries to do what's politically popular. You know, when he approved, he green-lighted Obamacare. I think he did it because he figured that was a popular position. That was what the people had voted for. They voted in a Democrat president, Obama, and a Democrat, both houses of Congress. And lo and behold, we got Obamacare. And I think his position, which I think he made pretty clear in his decision, was, hey, this is what you people voted for. You know, I'm not going to get in the way. You don't like it, vote them out. Vote in some other system of health care. But I'm not going to stop you. You know, this is what you guys asked for, you got it. And I think that he's, you know, maybe looking the same way here in that perhaps the White House, you know, whoever's handling Biden, goes to Roberts and says, man, we're about to get our asses handed to us in November. We have got to get out of this. Help us. Rule against this goddamn thing. You look like the bad guys to the squad over there who want more government. Then they'll scream bloody murder. We'll chill them out. You give us something, Republicans. You know, maybe you let another big spending bill, maybe not quite this giant boondoggle that we're trying to get through right now, the BBB. Maybe it's something smaller. You guys let that through. You know, you give us, you know, those 10 squishes in the Senate that, you know, generally will vote with the Democrats if it's the right mix of spending. And it won't be the end of the world because country's already broke. What's the difference if we just make it a little more broke? So there, I think, could be the deal. That is where the mandate may get shot down by the courts. I still think, you know, I'm holding to my prediction that the courts are going to approve it, but I think it's a possibility that kind of behind-the-scenes deal could happen. You'll know how Roberts votes. In other words, if he votes the mandate down, a deal is made. He's the key. If he votes, in other words, I highly doubt the decision's going to come down 5-4 with, say, Kavanaugh or Barrett, the decision maker. I think whichever way Roberts goes, the other two are going to go with him. It's going to be either 6-3 for the mandate or 6-3 against the mandate. And Roberts is the swing vote, bringing the other two with him. That's how I think that's going to go. And I'm hoping that there is a deal. See, that's what made me so nervous after the election was, it's like the Democrats aren't behaving rationally. This is crazy. I mean, as I told you in another previous video, remember what I said about stupid people? They're the most dangerous thing out there. Stupidity is the most dangerous thing there is. A bandit, a bad person, is not as bad as a stupid person. Whereas, you know, a bandit, you can at least predict what they're going to do. a stupid person is totally irrational. It's totally unpredictable. And that's what the Democrats were doing. It's like, why are you doing all these idiotic lockdowns and mandates? And nobody wants it. Not only do they not work, are you going to, you're all going to be voted out of office. This doesn't make any sense. Why are you guys continuing to push this crap? So now I think they're trying to get out of it. They're trying to back themselves down. I see two potential, obviously, there are two scenarios at the Supreme Court. The thing gets approved, they're going to get buried in November, absolutely torched. Then it'll be a question of whether or not in 23, the Republican Congress will try to rip the mandate out by the roots by defunding OSHA. I don't know. That depends. I mean, I don't think that people are going to comply with the mandate. I think you're going to have the major corporations will probably do it, although some have already said, we're not doing it. We're just going to fight you in court until which time the thing is thrown out anyway by a new administration or Congress, and then it'll all become moot anyway. But we got the money, we got the lawyers, and we're just going to tie you up in court. Some corporations have said that. Some of the smaller companies, as you get down closer to that 100 employee threshold, those are either they're not going to comply just because they're not. They'll play games with the number of employees that they have to just keep it under the threshold, or they'll divide the company in half and make it like two separate divisions. Where I got 4 companies and each have 99 employees, but they're all, controlled by one guy at the top, and you got to try to punch through the corporate veil to determine whether they're all controlled by the guy behind the curtain. All this kind of stuff's going to go on. In the red areas of the country, Florida, Texas, etc., the states are going to try to stop it on their own. So then the feds are going to have to fight the states, which are going to be actively running interference for the companies and the people to not have the vax mandates. It'll be a giant mess. It'll be like prohibition, essentially, where there's the law and no one's following it. So it'll be a complete, stupid, ugly mess, a massive confusion where nobody knows what the rule is. They don't even know what vaccinated means anymore. Do I have 1 booster? Do I need 2 boosters? Do I have to have 3 boosters? How often do I have to have these boosters? Can I mix and match these boosters? Are the boosters all the same? Does one booster buy me 6 months where another one only buys me 3? What if I have a pill instead of a booster? These are all stupid questions that haven't been answered yet, and they're trying to throw this one-size-fits-all crap to cover it. It'll be a giant mess. So that's scenario A. Now, scenario B, and this is the one which I think the Democrats would prefer. I mean, again, governor of Colorado, he came out and said, no, we're not going to punish the unvaccinated, and they should be vaccinated. They should, but we're not going to punish them. We're going to do the same stuff we've been doing, but no lockdowns, no mandates, no mask mandates. He's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. He's also a Democrat that's going to stand for election in November of 22. So he wants to get reelected. So that guy's backing off in a purple state like Colorado. Here in Pennsylvania, a purple state. The governor has given up on the mandates and lockdowns and crap. He's a lame duck, so he really doesn't care, but he does because he still has Democrat Party officials. He's still part of that club, and they're telling him, it's like, hey, Tom the commie, you can't just lock the whole state down. We got to stand for election here in 22. This is a key state in the election in 24. We need a governor on our side of the aisle in that seat when 24 rolls around, so we have a better chance of winning this state. You can't just hand it over to Republicans with these ridiculous unpopular mandates. So the Democrats are backing off. So, I think the scenario they want, which is B, that the court overturns the thing, no more vaccination mandate, and then the Democrats will just start walking it backwards. Just that's where YouTube comes into play. That's where Google comes into play. Oh, they're the same thing, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Google owns YouTube. That's where Twitter and the mass media, which all controlled by Democrats, comes into play. That's where I call it their gaslighting division, where they just start erasing history. Mandates? No, we were never for that. That's ridiculous. That was a Donald Trump thing. We were never for mandates and lockdowns. We never wanted to close the schools. This is ridiculous. No, and as further away you get from the actual event, when you go onto Google and say, what did happen 2 years ago? And Google tells you absolutely nothing. They just lie to you, and you go, okay. Seems to me the Democrats were driving all that stuff, that they're the ones that wrecked the economy and closed businesses and destroyed the supply chain. That don't underestimate the power of the gaslighting division. I wanted to say that in the previous video for those of you that are new, and I forgot. I've already been censored once by YouTube. One of my commenters in the previous Politics Barn, one of my fans from England, Will, he wants me to talk about the safety of the jib jab. Dude, I can't talk about that. That's verboten. Strictly and totally verboten. We cannot talk about the vaccination mandate as far as safety goes. You must be vaccinated and it's totally safe. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else because if I do, they'll take the video down. They'll just take it down. You're not allowed to question it. You're not allowed to discuss it. I think that should tell you something right there, but, again, you just can't discuss it. So, anyway, I think we're winning. I think we're winning here. This is what we want. We want to get, I don't want to take the House and the Senate and return control of the Congress to the Republicans and still have 80 million people out of work because of these goddamn mandates, which make no sense. There's no reason we need to throw all these people out of work in an economy like it is for no reason. It's just stupid. It's just beyond stupid. And the majority of people feel like I do. I'm certain of that. Biden wouldn't have mentioned that in his little speech there. I know this is unpopular. Yeah, you think Sherlock. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stop this thing. We're trying to stop it. What happens if the courts approve it? I don't know at that point. I guess Biden's just painted himself into a corner then, and he just rolls with it. And then he's just going to take his medicine. See, that's what makes him so dangerous as a puppet. He doesn't care. He doesn't even know. I don't even think he knows. I'm not even sure he knows what he's having for dinner. It tastes like roast beef. Well, it's actually applesauce because, we're afraid you'll choke if we give you actual food to chew on. So it's, paste, baby food paste for you, buddy. But so his handlers are anonymous, probably hardcore commies. They're probably members of the squad. These guys need to start like having a secret handshake or something like Hail Hydra or Hail Squad. Some kind of little, thing that they do where they can spot each other across a room where they all know who they are. Maybe they already do and we just don't know what it is. Hail Stalin or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's his hardcore, you don't even know who they are. That's what makes them so dangerous. They're anonymous. They don't have to stand up and defend their ideas. They know that the guy that they're putting up there is going to get destroyed. Even if he runs in 24, he's going to be wiped out. And so they're just going to do as much damage as they can in the time they have to do it. It's not good. It's not good, but we're winning. We're fighting back effectively. We just need to keep going, stay the course. If the mandate goes into effect, I'm lucky that it doesn't personally affect me for the moment. whatever time they come around and put a gun to my head as far as the booster goes, then I'll have to make a decision what to do. Honestly, I'm kind of with the position that, you know what, you want me to show my little card to get into your restaurant? Go fuck yourself. That's pretty much how I feel. But then, you know, there are personal situations sometimes where you're kind of like, oh, my kids really want to go to the zoo, which is in the city of Philadelphia, where they require a card to get in, and I got to show my papers, please, which we all laughed about in the 80s and said, we'll never let that happen here. That only happens in East Germany. They have a wall to keep people in. They have walls to keep people in. That's inhuman. That's awful. That's totalitarianism. That'll never happen here. And here, you know, papers, please, to get in the goddamn Philadelphia Zoo. So, but my kids really want to go. So, you know, that's a tough one. And we're all going to be faced with these kind of decisions as the blue places build these little enclaves of exclusivity as the elites lock and build fences around their cities where they're only going to allow people that think like them to come in. You know, ultimately, I think what will happen is, you know, it's just going to divide the country even more. You're going to have blue areas. The red people are going to move out of the blue areas because they don't want to show their papers or don't have their papers, have decided not to get their papers. We'll try to build up these type of places in the red areas. I guess we'll let the blue people come in if they want to, because we're not demanding they show any papers. You know, so I don't know if they're from a blue area or not. I guess I would, because they got a mask on. Hey, that guy's got a mask on. You must be a Democrat. You know, they'll out themselves like that. But, you know, if they had the balls to take the mask off, you wouldn't be able to identify them one way or the other. You know, we'll stick out like sore thumbs once we go inside the blue cities, because they'll demand our papers and we won't have them or won't show them. So it's going to be, I guess eventually we'll force the country into geographically segregated areas, and it'll be like 1860, and then we can just have at it, I guess, right? We can go for it again. The red and the blue. Wasn't that what it was, or there was something? No, it was the blue and the gray. There was an old movie or old TV movie like that. The blue and the gray. Now it'll be the blue and the red. It's not funny, but that's where this type of foolishness is taking us. That's why we keep saying, back off this stuff. There's no reason for it. There's no reason this has to happen. There's no reason this has to happen. So I had a couple other thoughts here. I'm here in the barn. I might as well let at it. We might as well have a 40-minute video instead of a 30-minute video. Why not? The one other thing Biden seemed to get wound up about, he was just so low energy. I hate that word. That's a Trump word, and I don't like it, but I just used it. He was just so, old and weak, and he's mumbling his way through, his answers to these. Every last person in that room asking him questions, they're all Democrats. I would wager whoever even works for Fox News, there's a very good chance that person's a Democrat too. So he's taking questions from the home team. I mean, every last question's from the home team, and no tough questions. So he's going on and on about why his Build Back Better bill would be so great that, we're giving bags of money to the poor people. I mean, don't they see how good this is going to be? That we're giving bags, and then he's wandering on and on. And then he talked, then he got mad. Then he got all mad because I think what happened was the reporters were like starting to, as he's verbally starting to wander around in a circle, not making any sense like he does now. And then they're starting, and then he goes, well, I mean it. And then he started to get mad. I mean it. I mean, it's dignity. These people have no dignity, I guess. But by taking a government check, that will give them dignity. It's like, wait a minute, that's not what I was taught in school. I mean, I was taught in school that if you need help, if you've run onto bad times, the government's there maybe to give you a little leg up, but it's not a lifestyle. If you're making a lifestyle of getting a government check every week, that ain't dignity. But that's not how Joe Biden thinks, or most Democrats, I think, for that matter. But he got all huffy there. I mean, dignity. I thought about that the other day. I was at the grocery store and I got panhandled. Do you know what that means? That means a man or woman. You know what? Every time I've been panhandled, it's been men. So I'm going to say man. I've never been panhandled by a woman. I don't know what that means. But a man comes up to you, a stranger, and he starts the tale. The tale. T-A-L-E. Tells his tale. He tells his tale of woe about, oh man, I got, I got no money. This guy's particular tale was that he's here in this parking lot of the grocery store in Reading, Pennsylvania, and he's from New Jersey, and he's got his twins in the car, and there was a mix-up with his girlfriend, and he needs formula. He's got no money. All in the space of 10 seconds, he got that out. So I'm kind of like, wait, stop. If this is about money, I can't help you. Oh, all right. So I go into the grocery store, and I go and I get my 2 or 3 items I need. And then I see him in there. He's in there too, getting whatever he needs. So I'm thinking, well, I guess he found somebody to give him money, or he found money somewhere, or he's got something to buy something. So I beat him out of the store, and then I see his car. And now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, there are Pennsylvania tags on that car. He says it's from New Jersey. The window's wide open. I can see clearly there's no one in the car. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you had twins in the car. So there are no twins. You're not from New Jersey. It's like, wait a minute. I knew right away. See that after you get to the age I am and you're over the age of 50, you can spot the tale. You don't even have to hear him begin it. It's always a lie. It's bullshit. It's a scam. It's a con. Then the guy comes out of the store and he meets a woman there, and they're talking back and forth to each other. And, he's got a bag there, so he must have bought something. And I just had that flash in my head of, I'm going to go out there and beat the shit out of this guy. And then, of course, it went away because in a polite society, we don't do things like that. But this guy basically tried to rob me. He basically tried to steal money from me. He was fraudulently conning me on basically like a micro scale. It's not as bad as these cocksuckers that call up old people on the phone and try to trick them out of their bank codes or their social security numbers so they can steal money from them electronically. I mean, those people are scum that should be put in the worst prisons in the world. But it's more or less the same concept. And I thought, where's your dignity, you piece of shit? You're an able-bodied person. Why don't you get a fucking job? Anywhere around here, you could show up with a pulse and get a job paying probably $20 an hour. If you have a pulse and you promise to actually go to work 4 days out of 5, you don't even have to show up that 5th day. You just got to make it there 4 days out of 5, and you got a $20 an hour job and a ladder to something bigger if you just stick it out. Where's your dignity, you piece of shit? But, that's I don't know if that's worse now than what it's ever been, because there have been panhandlers since the beginning of time. But it just annoyed me. And when I heard that word dignity in Biden's speech, that just made me think of that episode. And I thought, dignity, huh? Yeah. He's desperate. The economy's bad. Yeah, the economy's bad, but there are jobs all over the place, man. I mean, you want a dignity, go to one of these people that's dying, one of these businesses that's dying because they can't find anybody to work. They'll take you in a heartbeat if you had any goddamn dignity. But, So those were my thoughts on the Biden speech and the vaccination mandate as it stands now. I still think it's going to get green lighted by the courts, that they're not going to stand in the way of it. You watch Roberts. He's the key. Roberts is the key. If he votes against the mandate, a deal was cut. Then the question is, what did the Republicans have to give up to make the deal? In other words, if Biden wanted to get out of the mandate, he'd just get out of the mandate and just say, all right, I changed my mind. Clearly the country doesn't want this. Give the people what they want. But, why do that when he thinks he can get something in a bargain? So, what are the Republicans going to give up? Are they going to give up the abortion possibly? That's the other big decision coming soon. So do they trade one for the other? I don't know. Do they trade the BBB? Do they trade that possibly? So pay attention. We'll find out in, 3 weeks. We'll know. We'll know. Hey, that's what we got here for you in the Politics Barn tonight. I'm Eric Arnold. I believe, I'm trying to think of like a closing thing, and I think that we're fixing on this. I'm Eric Arnold, and I believe in free speech. And then I'll just kind of vary it every now and then about tonight I believe in the Philadelphia Eagles because they kicked the hell out of the Washington, whatever the hell they're calling themselves now. And that ends them. So screw the Washington, whatever the hell they're calling them. We don't like them. We like the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm Eric Arnold. I believe in the Philadelphia Eagles and free speech.